Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Jaya Radha Madhav, Jaya Radha Madhav, Jaya Radha Madhav, Jaya Radha Madhav. Jaya Navadvip Dham, Jaya Navadvip Dham, Jaya Navadvip Dham, Jaya Navadvip Dham. Jaya Vrindavan Dham, Jaya Vrindavan Dham, Jaya Vrindavan Dham, Jaya Vrindavan Dham. Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari 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 Bol. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Brindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagadhitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Narang Chaiva Narottamam Deving Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So, welcome everyone to Srimad Bhagavatam class this morning. We're reading Srimad Bhagavatam 7th canto, chapter 4, Hiranyakashipu terrorizes the universe. We're reading text numbers 31 and 32, which is on the board. Brahmanya Shila Sampannaha Brahmanya Shila Sampannaha Satya Sandho Jitendriyaha Satya Sandho Jitendriyaha Atmavat Sarva Bhutanam Atmavat Sarva Bhutanam Eka Priya Suhrittamaha Eka Priya Suhrittamaha Dasavat Sannatar Yangrihi दासवत्सन्नतार्ह्याङ्घ्रि पितृवद्दीनवत्सलः पितृवद्दीनवत्सलः भ्रातृवत् सदृशे स्निग्धो भ्रातृवत् सदृशे स्निग्धो गुरुषु ईश्वर भावनः गुरुषु ईश्वर भावनः विद्यार्थरूप जन्माढ्यो विद्यार्थरूप जन्माढ्यो मानस्तंभ विवर्जितः मानस्तंभ विवर्जितः ब्राह्मण्यशील संपन्नः सत्योसंधो जितेन्द्रियः आत्मवत् सर्वभूतानां एकप्रिय सुहृत्तमः दासवत्सन्नतार्ह्याङ्घ्रिः पितृवद्दीनवत्सलः भ्रातृवत्सदृशे स्निग्धो गुरुषु ईश्वर भावनः विद्यार्थरूप जन्माढ्यो मानस्तंभ विवर्जितः ब्रह्मण्यशील संपन्नः
ब्रह्मण्यशील संपन्नः सत्यसंधो जितेन्द्रियः आत्मवत् सर्वभूतानां एकप्रिय सुहृत्तमः दासवत्सन्नतयाङ्घ्रि पितृवद्दीनवत्सलः भ्रातृवत्सदृशे स्निग्धो गुरुषु ईश्वर भावनः विद्यार्थरूप जन्माढ्यो मानस्तंभ विवर्जितः
मानस्तंभ विवर्जितः Mothers ब्रह्मण्यशील संपन्नः आत्मवत् सर्वभूतानां भ्रातृवत्सदृशे स्निग्धो stambha vivarjitaha. Brahmanya, cultured as a good Brahmana. Shila sampanna, possessing all good qualities. Satyasandha, determined to understand the absolute truth. Jita indriya, fully controlling the senses and the mind. Atmavat, like the supersoul. Sarva bhutanam, of all living entities. Ekapriya, the one beloved. Suhrittamaha, the best friend. Dasavat, like a menial servant. Sannata, always obedient. Arya Angrihi, at the lotus feet of great persons. Pitrevat, exactly like a father. Dinavat kind to the poor. Bhratrevat, exactly like a brother. Sadrishe, to his equals. Snigdhaha, very affectionate. Gurushu, unto the spiritual masters. Ishvara Bhavanaha, who considered exactly like the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vidya, education. Artha, riches. Rupa, beauty. Janma, aristocracy or nobility. Aryaha, endowed with. Mana, pride. Stambha, impudence. Vivarjitaha, completely free from. Translation and quoted by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The qualities of Maharaj Prahlad, the son of Hiranyakashipu, are described herewith. He was completely cultured as a qualified Brahman, having very good character and being determined to understand the absolute truth. He had full control of his senses and mind. Like the Supersoul, he was kind to every living entity and was the best friend of everyone. To respectable persons, he acted exactly like a menial servant. To the poor, he was like a father. To his equals, he was attached like a sympathetic brother, and he considered his teachers, spiritual masters, and older god brothers to be as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He was completely free from unnatural pride that might have arisen from his good education, riches, beauty, aristocracy, and so on. Purport. These are some of the qualifications of a Vaishnava. A Vaishnava is automatically a Brahman because a Vaishnava has all the good qualities of a Brahman. Shamodamas-tapo saucham kshantir arjavam evacha jnanam vijnanam astikyam brahma karama svabhavajam. Peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, wisdom, knowledge, and religiousness. These are the qualities by which the Brahmins work. Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, text number 42. These qualities are manifest in the body of a Vaishnava. Therefore, a perfect Vaishnava is also a perfect Brahman, as indicated here by the words Brahmanya Shila Sampannaha. A Vaishnava is always determined to understand the absolute truth, and to understand the absolute truth, one needs to have full control of his senses and mind. Prahlad Maharaj possessed all these qualities. A Vaishnava is always a well-wisher to everyone. The 6 Goswamis, for example, are described in this way. Dhira dhira jana priyo. They were popular with both the gentle and the ruffians. A Vaishnava must be equal to everyone, regardless of one's position. Atmavat. A Vaishnava should be like Paramatma. Ishvara sarva bhutanam hriddesha arjuna tishtati. Paramatma does not hate anyone. Indeed, he is in the heart of a Brahman, but he is also even in the heart of a pig. As the moon never refuses to distribute its pleasing rays even to the home of a Chandal, a Vaishnava never refuses to act for everyone's welfare. Therefore, a Vaishnava is always obedient to the spiritual master, Arya. The word Arya refers to one who is advanced in knowledge. One who is deficient in knowledge cannot be called Arya. At the present, however, the word Arya is used to refer to those who are godless. This is the unfortunate situation of Kali Yuga. The word Guru refers to the spiritual master who initiates his disciple into advancement in Krishna consciousness, advancement in the science of Krishna or Krishna consciousness, as stated by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Shri Bhagavan Mantropadeshake Gurav iti arthaha. Mukam karoti vachalam pangam langhayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurudinatarinam. So in these two verses which you are reading, the qualities of Prahlad Maharaj are described, but we also find an echo of the voice of the Navayogendras. The Navayogendras are the sons of Rishabhdev, and they became great acharyas. As a matter of fact, that 11th canto mentions that, not 11th canto, it describes Rishabhdev's sons, and it says that some of his sons, Brahmana Babhuvaha, they became Brahmanas, not by birth, but by qualifications. And they are very famous. The Navayogendras were the sons of Rishabhdev, who is an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And among them, there is one Yogendra, his name is Sri Havir. And he describes the natural symptoms by which one can distinguish between the most advanced devotee, those on the middle level, and those who are neophytes. And as a matter of fact, the terms Kanishtadhikari, Madhyamadhikari, and Uttamadhikari are taken from the words of the Navayogendras. There you find them the first time coined in the Srimad Bhagavatam, but it's almost at the end, in the 11th canto. So Srila Prabhupada used these terms a lot, but unfortunately he did not translate the 11th canto by himself. But still, we can understand that if you look carefully, or if you read carefully the qualities of Prahlad Maharaj, the son of Hiranyakashipu, then one finds the echo of these three adhikaris. Sri Havir says there, Sri Havir uvacha sarvabhuteshu yah pashet bhagavad bhavam atmanaha bhutani bhagavati atmani esha bhagavatottamaha. These verses are worth memorizing. Actually, all the verses of Bhagavatam are worth memorizing, but especially these, because they give you a measurement, gives you a way to understand what are the qualities of an Uttama Adhikari. Esha Bhagavat Ottamaha. Sarva Bhuteshu Yaha Pashet, one who sees within all the living entities, Bhagavat Bhavam Atmanaha, is able to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead sitting in everyone's heart. Or one can say, Bhagavat Bhavam Atmanaha. He is on the level of bhava, of ecstatic prema for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, he can see Krishna everywhere. Or like Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, Sthavaram Jangam na dekhe, Sthavaram Jangam dekhe na dekhe taramurti, Sarvatra tar ishtadeva spurti. That a person who is on the bhava level, on the prema level, he doesn't see living entities who are non-moving, like trees. Neither does he see living entities who are moving, like humans. No. Sarvatra tar ishtadeva spurti. When he looks around, he gets spurti, he gets imbibed, he gets inflamed with seeing his Ishtadeva Krishna everywhere in every place. So similarly here, and at the same time, Bhutani Bhagavati Atmani, he also sees how all living entities are related to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. One who sees like this, Esha Bhagavatottamaha. Now, if you see like this, like it says here, Prahlad's vision was just like the super soul, and he was the best friend to everyone. Then the question arises, then how can you preach? Because preaching means that you see somebody is doing something which is not good and something which is good. But if Krishna is everywhere, how can something be non-good? right? Even the meat eater cannot be known good. I noticed this when I was in the Rath Yatra of Rotterdam. Then a person from Afghanistan walked by, and when he saw me, he says that, I know a little bit Hindi. He was speaking to me, and he said that don't speak very difficult Hindi. For the Afghans, pure Hindi, which means Sanskritized Hindi, not using Urdu words, is very difficult. So I had to speak a little bit Urdu to him, and then the point came, is the Supreme in everything? Yes, of course he's in everything. So then is he not in a deity of Jagannath? No. This is their concept. He's everywhere but not in a deity. He's everywhere but not in a tree. Then how can he be everywhere? These kind of thoughts limit them. So they don't have any chance to become an Uttamadhikari. The second one, which Sri Habir describes, is Ishwari tad adhineshu balisheshu dvisatsucha prema maitri kripopeksha yah karoti samadhyama. The Madhyama Adhikari, who is situated in between the Uttama and the Kanishtha, his characteristics are Ishwara tad adhineshu. He's very humble and surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bali Sheshu, he also sees those who are less advanced, literally children in Krishna consciousness. And you find if you go to India, to Bharatadesha, that sadhus, even if they are younger to you, will address you as Bacha, means little child, a balak like that. What do they mean by that? They mean that you're not ripened in your knowledge, you're not ripened in your realization. That is what it means. And yes, one who is not ripened, he might be 80 years old, but is not very intelligent. He's just a child. He's a bala. Bali Seshu, Dvisat Sucha. He also sees that there are others who are envious of devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he sees variegatedness of conditionings in this world. Then he makes prema maitri. He makes friendships with those who are equal. He can recognize that, hey, this person is equal to me. He has similar realizations as I have. Prema Maitri makes friendship with those who are equal. Kripa, those who are less advanced, who are young and new in Krishna consciousness, he gives mercy to them. Kripa. And Upeksha means to neglect those who are envious. Yah Karoti, one who acts like this, Sa Madhyama. And I guess most of the devotees who are a longer time in ISKCON, they act like this. Because in preaching you have to outreach, and then you have to be merciful to everyone. Sometimes there are people sitting in the hall, and I would think if I were not a devotee, I would never speak to this person. But now being a sadhu, you have to open your mind, open your heart to these personalities also. And they are very conditioned. But still, if you pierce through that conditioning and try to touch their heart, and you succeed, you see that they are actually inside, they are also devotees. So, but it's a challenge because you have to go through so much nonsense and so much arguments and so much stubbornness they have there. They put up a wall and they're not convinced, and you have to try to convince them, especially if you distribute books on the streets. Every person has another philosophy, and especially in Holland, the Dutch have this mood that because I have a mouth, I have the right to speak. And they don't consider how to speak, what to speak, in what context they should speak. No, because I have a mouth, I have the right to speak. But I guess in Germany, they're a little more cultured here. They have some decency, some etiquette. But in some countries, it's very difficult. And then you have to put so much energy to convince the person, just take a book. It takes so much energy to pierce to that ego that he knows better. Or sometimes people pass by and they say that, just stay in one line, what is your religion? You don't have time, but you want to know what is your conviction. And then you have to be prepared for that. How to say in one line, what is your faith? Can you say it in one word? What is your faith? Parampara. What is your faith? Service to the Lord. Okay, what is your faith at the back? Freedom. What is your faith, Mataji? In one line. Sorry? Was ist seine Vertrauen in einer Regel. Krishna will protect me. Okay, you want to say also? They asked this to different religions, as a matter of fact. They asked this to the Christians, and the Christians said, what was that? The Christians said, what was that? Love. In one word. How to describe Christianity? Love. And they asked this to the Muslims. What did they say? Their religion is about. I just had it in my mind. Why do I lose it here? In one word. I forgot actually what they said. And then they asked the Hindus. They said truth. You know? Yes, that was. The Muslims, they asked, they said peace. One word. How can you describe your religion in one word? He said peace. To the Christians, love. To the Hindus, truth. Like that. So truth is very valuable, and truth is eternal. Like that. So these people on the street, they have this passionate mood, you know. One time a person, he walked by, he said that, why is the cow holy? I just said, because she is mother. You drank her breast milk. Oh, there is something in it. Thank you. And he ran away, you know. These kind of people are there. You have to be merciful to this. Prema maitri kripopeksha. Ya karoti samadhyama. Who knows in what life, where he might meet another devotee again, you know. Then, archayam eva haraye pujyam yaha shraddhaye hate natad bhakteshu chanyeshu sa bhakta prakritah smritah. A person who is doing archayam eva haraye, he's faithfully worshipping Hari, the Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead, with a lot of faith. Pujam yah shraddhaye hate, but natad bhakteshu cha anyeshu. He does not recognize anyone else as a devotee. And unfortunately, sometimes I've seen very much stern, stubborn, and proud priests. You know, you come in, they don't even give you a seat, and they are very eager to correct you. You're a Hare Krishna, you don't know the rules of Karma Kanda. You cannot do this, you cannot do that, like that. So they think that because they are the priest, they have the topmost adhikar, topmost freedom to say everything, do everything, and everyone has to follow them. You know, that mood. But they are not interested in soul development, in evolving. The soul has to evolve further. So evolving in consciousness, they're not busy with that. They're busy with the rituals, like that. So they cannot see bhaktisu cha anishu, the devotion for the Supreme Personality of Godhead in somebody else's heart. It's very important that if you cultivate your inner devotion, then you'll be able to experience that others have also inner devotion in them. And that should be valued. Very much it should be valued. One who cannot do like that, sa bhaktaha prakritaha smritaha. He is considered to be a materialistic devotee. And prakritaha means material energy, the external world. So he's able to see and appreciate only the externals, prakriti, earth, water, fire, and ether. So he'll come, oh, how nice this temple is. Everything is so nice, decorated, and flowers, garlands, and this. Everything is more nice and so expensively with golden paint. Well, is that important? It's actually a reflection of the devotion of people who did that. If you go to South India, you find especially Meenakshi Temple. There's a Parvati temple in South India, and it's considered to be the most beautiful temple of India. Now, previously, the Taj Mahal was considered to be the seventh world wonder, but our PM from Bharatadesha has changed that to Meenakshi Temple, and he did right. Now, if you go there, you wonder, you know, how much would it have cost to build such a temple? Very, very high towers called Gopurams. And every square meter is decorated. You can keep looking at this. And if you know the scriptures, you can see that it's actually like a comic book. And, you know, these are all pastimes from the Puranas. You know, it's amazing. It's very educational also. So that's there. Then you wonder how much would it have cost to build such a temple. Then you ask the priest, he said, no, these temples were built by devotion. The sculptors, they worked free. Just give them food. They don't need money. We'll work for you, my dear king, because they have devotion for the supreme goddess, Parvati. Like that. So this is how it is, see? But a person who can see only the externals, oh, how much would it cost to build such a temple? If I would sell it, how much money would I get from this, you know? Maybe we can put some stalls there to get, to sell something, some food. People will come, it becomes a touristic area. See? Sabhakta prakritah smritah. He might have devotion, but he is very much interested in his own materialistic views. So, these terms, Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyam Adhikari, and Uttam Adhikari, are first coined by the Navayogendras, and it is necessary to have these definitions clear in order to not become bewildered when you study Srila Prabhupada's books. Otherwise, you tend to find contradictions in Srila Prabhupada's books, and then doubts will crop up. This is not something made up, because we know that this happens. Like a general tendency is what you find among devotees is that they understand the term pure devotee to indicate an Uttamadhikari. But that is not like that. Pure devotee doesn't mean Uttamadhikari. Because in a lecture, a Nectar of Devotion, on the 4th of November 1974 in Vrindavan, Srila Prabhupada replied to this question when somebody asked, what is a pure devotee? He said, a pure devotee can be first class, second class, or third class. Right? Prabhupada said like that. That means he can be Kanishta, Madhyam, and Uttam. That's a pure devotee. So read it as it is. Now, there have been several answers given in different times, but this one is actually defining what's a pure devotee. Because somewhere else, Srila Prabhupada says, one who always chooses Krishna's side, he is a pure devotee. Right? Like that. Yeah, it's also true, but it doesn't give a definition, a very clear definition by which you can study the books without finding any contradictions in there. So, it indicates this term pure devotee, it indicates it's nothing to do with the levels of bhakti, which Rupa Goswami is describing. Adav Shraddha, Tato Sadhu Sangha, Atha Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivriti, Nishtha, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava Prem. It has nothing to do, this term, pure devotee, with those levels of Krishna consciousness. It indicates that pure is an adjective to Nishkam Bhakti, one who wants to do service without expecting anything in return. So if that is the mood, you can also come to the temple and have no expectation from the temple and give some donation and go. Many people are like that. So that act during that time is pure devotion. And that will create further sukriti, purity in consciousness, that they can advance further. So that should be properly understood, otherwise you'll find contradictions. It says pure devotee dared and then he fell. Of course, pure devotees can fall into impurity. Of course, he can be a Kanishta also. Or he can be Madhyam also, so he can fall. So where does this actually come from, this misunderstanding? It comes actually from the Bengali and the Sanskrit terminology. Because if you say Shuddha Nama, right, in Harinam Chintamani, it means Prem Nama. So Shuddha means pure, if you translate it. But if you use it as pure devotee, it's not the same. You see? So therefore, there is a need to actually learn a little bit of Bengali and Sanskrit. Then you'll understand, hey, Shuddha Nama, which means pure Nama, Prema Nama. So therefore, it would not mean like Shuddha Bhakta is a pure devotee. Like that. So then it creates, this word Shuddha creates sometimes confusions. So, that should be done. The term Mahabhagavat, which is coined by Yamaraj in the 6th canto, that is often equalized by Prabhupada to be an Uttamadhikari. Okay? Dwadasha Mahabhagavatas or Dwadash Mahajanas, they are on the level of Uttama Adhikari. So now, in synchronizing Sri Havir's scale with that of Rupa Goswami, of levels of advancement in devotion, we can say that a Kanishta refers to a person who's below Nishtha. In the beginning, you have to have some faith in order to come to a temple, Ado Shraddha. Then why do you come to the temple? To have a satsanga, to associate with devotees. And how do you associate? To talk about Krishna. And when you're inspired by a devotee, you can decide to take initiation from him, and that is called the bhajana kriya. You learn the process of bhajan. Bhajan starts with Ado Guru Padashraya, by surrendering to the lotus feet of a uh, pure devotee guru. To say like this, when you say pure devotee, yeah, he's pure, but you also signify what level he has to be. He has to be an Uttamadhikari level, right? An Uttamadhikari pure devotee. So like this. And then when you chant, why do you chant? Why do you bhajan? To come to the level of anartha nivriti. All those clouds you have in your heart, which gives you all kinds of obstacles, like lust, creates desires for name and fame. I'm chanting so people will recognize me, and that is called to be tarangarangini. You are wanting to enjoy the fruits of your chanting, name and fame. Or you're very attached to sweets, so then you make a vow, I'm not going to eat sweets anymore because it's not for brahmacharya. But then at night you look, I'm a little bit hungry, and nobody's watching. Maybe I should start tomorrow, she's sincere with me. Tomorrow I'll start. And Vishaya Sangra, fighting with the sense objects. And some say, so enthusiastic and chanting and dancing, you're like, I've attained the bhava level. And tomorrow, I don't feel like chanting today. So there's ghana tarala, sometimes thick, sometimes thin. Shri Dayal Nitai Vijay Gauranga Ki Jai. So these are coming from weaknesses in heart. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya are not anarthas. They are gifts of material nature, a part of your body. You know that? You can't get rid of them. They will always be there. But you, who are inside the body, if you're not affected by them, then you can come to the level of an Uttamadhikari. And if you are able to conquer those anarthas, then you reach the level of Nishtha Bhakti, unwaverable, unshakable, unwaving, unfloating. Your faith in the process is unbreakable now. Why? Because you have realized so many things. Now, realization is not something on the level of swapna. As I described, there are 4 levels of consciousness: Jagran, Swapna, Sushupti, and Turiya. Realization is not an insight in the mind level. Realization means when the Atmic level, Sushupti level, starts to become awake, starts to turn into the Pragya level. That is called realization. That is real. One find also an insight you might have, you might even forget about it. Oh, what was that? I had a good insight. But something which you have experienced on Atmic level, you don't forget that. We sing it also. Divya Jnana Hriday Prakashito. That divine knowledge is revealed within the heart, not in the brain, between your ears. That doesn't. Divya Jnana Kapale Prakashito. It doesn't say like this. No, it's in the heart where it is manifest. So it's much deeper. If somebody sees or hears and then speaks out, they say, oh, he has it from hearsaying, He speaks from hearsaying, right? And if somebody speaks from the heart, he's speaking from the heart, because he has felt it here. It's deeper. And if somebody speaks from realization, he has digested. He's speaking from the stomach. It's become one with him. Digestion means you absorb it and it turns into you, a part of you, right? So you have to digest that knowledge. It's real. Now it's realized. It's very deep, so on an atmic level like that. So that is what is meant by these nishtha. Having strong faith is based on your realizations. So when the atmic level starts to become alive, something's happening there, then you know it's realization. And keep them as jewels in your heart. Beg, borrow, or steal, but get realization. Because it will protect you from all kinds of misconceptions, allurements, and fake news, because you have seen the truth. Nobody can cheat you anymore. And you will know it is not like this. So it'll come, if you give me $100, watch my hand, I will reveal the Swarup to you. Poof. Way if he says something wrong, You have seen already who you are, or you know already. Somebody, deeper inside you have already have glimpses of your form. So I know who you are. Like then, there's no way people can cheat you. People can allure you, or you can deviate from the path, because you know which direction you have to go. Like that. So therefore, it is very important to get realizations. And then your bhajan becomes nishtha, unbreakable, right? So when you attain nishtha, you start another level. Your kanishtha level is finished. Kanishtha means no nishtha. So below nishtha means kanishtha. But if you attain nishtha, then you're not a kanishtha anymore. You start madhyama level. And basically you're freed from anarthas. So you're actually mukta. From nishtha, then comes ruchi. Ruchi means a lot of taste. Taste in chanting. You cannot give up chanting, and it just goes on and on and on. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. It's like honey is on the tongue, You're chanting and chanting and chanting and chanting. 16. What is 16? It's just like a glass of water. No, 32. Hare Krishna, Krishna. What's 32? 64. Hare Krishna, Krishna. No, 3 lakh. It's so tasty. You're just gratifying your senses with the holy name, like that. And that leads into asakti. Asakti means intense attachments to the personality of Krishna. Ruchi means taste in the process. And asakti means attachment to Krishna. All of a sudden, a great addiction starts. It's a good addiction. You become addicted to Krishna. You cannot do without him. It's asakti. And then also, the madhya level finishes. And then bhava starts. When bhava starts, then you reach the stage of uttamadhikari, bhava and prema. Like that. So, this is how we can synchronize these levels which the two acharyas are saying here, Sri Havi and Rupa Goswami. Now, we read in a previous verse that one who practices bhakti, like Prahlad Maharaj, automatically the good qualities of the devatas manifest in him. Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavati akinchana sarvair gunais tatra samasate sura harav abhaktasya kuto mahadguna manorathena sato sati dhavato bahi. This is from the 5th canto, 18th chapter, text number 12. So, I think you know this verse. Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavati akinchana. In that person in whom resides Krishna's devotion, akinchana sarvar gunais satatma, and he's also renounced, then all the good qualities, sarvar gunais tatra samasate, they reside in him, of the suras, of the devatas. Harav abhaktasya, but one who is not a devotee of Hari, kuto mahadgunat, what kind of good quality can he have? Because mano rathena asati dhavato bihi, he is just a passenger on the chariot of his mind. His mind is leading him here and there. So how can he have transcendental atmic qualities? So from this we can understand that even the qualities of the devatas are only good when they are connected to Krishna's devotion. Devatas have many qualities, especially Indra. He's very fond of his position. And if you dare to perform 100 Ashwamedhas, you get a lot of problems, right? So this is also quality of Indra. But what are the good qualities? The good qualities are those qualities of the devatas when they are connected with Krishna's bhakti, Hari Bhakti. Okay, so let us therefore find some of those qualities of the devatas when the devatas incarnate on earth as devotees. Then see what kind of qualities they exhibit. For one example is here, Yamadevata. Yamaraj, he incarnated as Vidur, the great Mahamantri minister from Hastinapur. And Vidur became very famous because Shri Krishna rejected Duryodhana's invitation and accepted Vidur's invitation for bhojan, for having a meal with him. Now, Duryodhana was very fond to criticize Vidur as being a Dasiputra, the son of a maidservant. And this Krishna, he's no better than him because he's a coward, right? So let them enjoy. We are Kshatriyas. So this is what Duryodhana was like. And Krishna entered Vidur's house, rejecting the royal bhojan of Duryodhana because Krishna is not eating that ego or that exhibition of so much opulence. He was eating the devotion which Vidur was offering. It says that his wife was so much in ecstasy when Krishna arrived, that she was just meditating on Krishna and she peeled a banana and gave the peels to Krishna to eat. And held the banana held by, because she was so much absorbed in devotion, and Krishna was eating the peels, like that. So, Vidur was known for his alertness. He was always alert, and he could understand by someone's behavior or talks what his intentions were. And he had a very protective attitude towards the Pandavas, who are devotees of Krishna. So this quality of being alertness is a quality of a devotee. And being very protective towards other devotees is also a Vaishnava quality. And especially, he can know somebody else's intentions. And this is also a sign of a Madhyamadikari quality. He can feel the intentions, the devotion in somebody else's heart. So like this, these are some good qualities of the devatas. When they incarnate as devotees, they exhibit those qualities also. Vidur was also able to convey messages in code language, in riddles. Like when he spoke to Maharaj Yudhishthir about that house in Varanavat, the house of lack, is going to be set on fire. There was a situation where he could not speak openly because Shakanu and Duryodhana arrived also at the place where Yudhishthir was sitting. So it says in the Mahabharata that Vidur used Malecha language. So Malecha means Greek. So probably he spoke like Rophos, Trophos, Propos, something like that, which sounds like Greek. And he spoke to Yudhishthir. Yudhishthir could also speak Malecha language. And he made them aware that this is the time, this is the season when the Palasa flower is blooming. So Palasa is known as the flame of the forest, if you look for that. It has beautiful flowers, and from afar it looks like they are little flames. And he indicated that. And Shakuni and Duryodhan could not understand what Vidur was talking about. So he spoke in riddles, which only Yudhishthira could understand. So they understood that there has to be a conspiracy to burn us alive in this house of lack. So we should be aware of this. So Vidur was very intelligent and very clever in order to do that, which is also a Vaishnava quality. So also, Vidur's Vaishnava Seva attitude was very pleasing to Krishna. Vidur was the one who sent a boat for the Pandavas when they were fleeing after the Varanavat, the House of Lack episode. They arrived at the river and they had to remain incognito. Otherwise, there would be probably another conspiracy to try to kill them. So they had to stay incognito for some time. And Vidur was sending messengers and boatmen for them to cross the river in order to hide somewhere. So he was always trying to protect and serve the Pandavas, which is very pleasing to Lord Krishna. And also, he was fearless in speaking the truth, right? In the assembly, he was daring to criticize Duryodhan, that throw him out, he's worthless. By his presence, your whole dynasty will be destroyed, Maharaj Dhritarashtra. And then Duryodhan was hissing like a snake. Like, who told him to be here? Who told him to talk here? This Dasi's son, the son of this maidservant. Kick him out, and beat him, and let him only be alone with his breath. And then Vidur, he went on pilgrimage. And when he went on pilgrimage, then they spoke for about 2 cantos. It's the talks between Vidur, Uddhava and Maitreya. So he was very daring. He also dared to speak up. He was the only one to speak up when Draupadi was being disrobed. And he heavily spoke up. Dronacharya was silent. Bhishma was shaking in shame. And Kripacharya, he didn't dare to say anything. But Vidur stood up against all of that. And you could see, Maunam Sammatir Lakshanam. The scriptures say, if you remain silent when something like that is happening, it means you agree. Silence is a sign of agreement. Right? There's a Dutch saying also. Anyways, no need to speak Dutch here. When he remains silent, he agrees. And therefore, you participated in the sin. And later also, when Bhishma was lying on a bed of arrows, then Draupadi came and she paid respects to Bhishma there. And he asked, my dear grandfather Bhishma, when I was being insulted, why didn't you speak up? And then Bhishma said, my dear daughter, I was eating the grains of this Duryodhana, and because of that, my mind was being bewildered. I couldn't speak. That happens. if we eat wrong grains, And though Vidur didn't have a very high birth because he was Yamaraj cursed by Mandavya Rishi to become a Shudra, he didn't have a very high birth, but he exhibited qualities even better than those high-class so-called Kshatriyas, of this earth. So that is typical Vidur. Yamadevata also came incarnated as Maharaj Yudhishthir, who was known as Dharmaraj and Ajata Shatru. So these are also qualities of Vaishnavas. Dharmaraj means in every step, except for gambling, of course, he was consulting the scriptures, either physically or in the mind, because he had learned them in Gurukul, whether how he should act, what is Dharma saying. So therefore he's Dharmaraj. He didn't like to act without consulting Dharma. Now, some people are like, very rare in this day and age, but they always want to check first before they act. Dharmaraj. He might be destroyed, but he will not give up Dharma. That is a quality of a devotee. Like Dronacharya, he knew why Drishtadyumna was born. He was born to kill him. But he didn't say no when Drupad, his father, brought him to Gurukul to be trained in military arts, right? That's a Brahman. So anyway, if that's destined to happen, then let it happen. So that is Brahminical qualities. So he is also Ajata Shatru. That means he always was ready to forgive others. And he says it again and again in the Mahabharata, that forgiveness is the highest dharma. Draupadi is completely upset with this. No, she wants to see some action. You're a Kshatriyas. Show some valor, show some heroism. No, should forgive. And she didn't like that. Because Yudhishthira didn't see any enemy in anybody. He knew that time and the modes, they work upon somebody, then some enmity comes, but actually nobody's my enemy. Ajata Shatru. He didn't consider that his enemies were born. But it doesn't mean that others didn't consider it to be him his enemy, but that's Ajata Shatru. Now Indradeva, another Devata. We're analyzing the good qualities of the Devatas. Now, Indra is very famous for doing all kinds of amazing things, but guess he also has devotional qualities. Indra incarnated in a Ramalila as Vanaraj Bali and in Krishna Lila as Arjun. So, we see that in the Ramayana, although Bali was very proud of his heroism and his position as the king, Vanaraj Bali, as the king of the monkeys, he was greatly devoted to Lord Ramachandra. And because of Bali's devotion, Sri Ramachandra had to hide behind a tree and shoot him with an arrow in that way. The reason was not that because Bali had a boon that any opponent coming in front of him, he can absorb half his power in him, so he can't defeat him. That was not the reason why Ramachandra shot him unseen. The reason was very simple. He had promised Sugriva, I will give you back your kingdom and kill this Bali. Now Bali, he knew that Ramachandra is Purushottam, and if Ramachandra would have come in front of him, he would immediately surrender and touch his feet. Now, a Kshatriya, Maryada, Kshatriya etiquette says, you cannot kill a surrendered enemy. So Ramachandra would have not been able to kill Bali and not fulfill his promise. Therefore, he had to hide. This is the actual devotional reason. This is coming from a Ramayana written in South India, the Kamba Ramayana. There it is clearly described. That was the actual reason why Ramachandra hid behind the tree. So, Bali knew that Sri Ramachandra was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And now, when Indradev, he came as Arjun, he exhibited such a devotion and Krishna consciousness, that even the hairs on the body of Arjun were chanting Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. It says in the Goswami books that one time Rukmini Mata was asking Krishna, why are you going to Arjun all the time? Do you want to know? Let's go to Arjun's room. He's taking rest now. And they saw Arjun sleeping there, taking rest. And he said that Rukmini listened to the hairs of his body. And she heard Krishna, 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 Krishna. He was so absorbed, even in his dreams he was chanting Krishna. Therefore I go to him. Rukmini Devi learned something about Arjun here. Now, both in Swarga and on earth, Indradev is so close to Krishna that he comes as a intimate family member on earth as Arjun, but in Swarga, he comes as the elder brother of Vamanadev, Upendra. So that close they are. And on earth, he's known as Krishna Sakha, the good friend of Krishna. As a matter of fact, he's considered to be the authority on Sakhya Ras, right? So Arjun is very famous for his heroism and skill in archery. It describes in the Mahabharata, this is also Vaishnava quality. Yes, it is a Vaishnava quality, archery. That when Arjun was shooting arrows, he could do it at such great speed that the witness, somebody looking at him, would see that the bow was constantly tied in a round form. So he was stringing the bow such rapidly, fighting arrows, you could only see a round bow. Amazing, right? So skilled he was. He was doing asanas, he was doing all kinds of yogas to maintain that power. And he was a warrior who was able to extremely focus on his target. And once in the Gurukul, Dronacharya was teaching all these princes in archery. And the training was how to focus on the target. So then everyone came forward, and there was a bird in a tree. Dronacharya had put a bird in a tree, which was a bird made of maybe of wax or paper or something like that. It was not a real bird. And then everyone was focusing. What do you see? I see the bird. What do you see? I see the bird. I see the bird between the leaves. Everyone was saying like this. But when Arjun's time came, Arjun, what do you see? I see only the head of the bird. And everyone was shocked. So much focus. What do you see now, Arjun? Only the eye of the bird. Right? That much he could focus, and then he, of course, hit the target. So for a warrior to be able to do that, that creates a lot of skill. And Arjun also was known to go to Swarga to get divine weapons. Why divine weapons? Because there is a need for. You might have maybe seen Hollywood movies on, what is this fellow's name? That who splits the arrow, what's his name? Robin Hood. I don't know if you know Robin Hood. No, you don't know. You're from Vrindavan, you don't have the samskara. Anyway, it is like, it's a children's movie on archery. Robin Hood, he's a person and he's in competition with somebody. So somebody shoots the arrow in bullseye. And I said, okay, that means doesn't mean that you have won the game. So he takes his arrow and he shoots and he splits the arrow aside and hits the bullseye again. So that is considered to be, is that considered to be the best you can do in archery? No. More difficult than that is when an incoming arrow is coming towards you, that you counter that with your arrow. You split that incoming arrow. If you can do that, then you are a Kshatriya. Right? Or you can, an arrow is flying from one direction to another, you can hit that arrow with your arrow and cut it into pieces. These are the skills of the Mahabharata warriors. These skills were there, right? Now that's basically maximum you can get. I heard some stories in Rajasthan, but I don't know how much it is true. In the weapon arsenal of the kings, if you go there, you find also arrows which have no head at it. And then you ask the guide, arrows without head, what is for what purpose is that? They will say, these were meant to counter bullets. Meant to counter bullets? Well, you have to have such good sight to see the bullet flying before, and then you have to hit the target. So you have to be extremely good vision, you see. Basically, archery disappeared because of the speed of the bullet. You cannot follow that with your eyesight. So there's no way you can focus and then hit that. Anyway, they were telling me that those arrows are meant for countering bullets. So, really? So, anyway, skill in Bharatadesha was extremely high. Therefore, it was unconquerable. But then, if you want to go a step higher, then you need divine weapons, the weapons of the devatas. And it mentions in the scriptures that there is a mantra of Indra. If you shoot one arrow, and after you let the arrow loose, you chant that mantra, it turns into 15 arrows. right? Like that. And there's a mantra of Shiva also. When you shoot an arrow, it turns into 50, like that. So these were the skills the warriors had. So you can stop a whole entire army. And you find also amazing things is that you can create a wall by arrows. You can stop the river flow by arrows, right? You can make a seat of arrows, or like Ramachandra did. He made a shield of flying arrows above the fire pit of Vishwamitra's sacrifice. All these skills were there in Bharatadesha. Of course, you need mantras for that, to able to do that. So Arjun had all of that. And besides that, he was extremely beautiful. He was so beautiful that a snake princess called Ulupi, she couldn't resist him. And as he was bathing in the river, she pulled him down in the river into the kingdom of the snakes, the Nagas. And then Arjuna, why did you do that? And she was like, because you're very handsome. So he had to stay there and give her a child. His name was Shah. What's his name? With the Shah. Sri. What is the name of the snake names who fought in the Mahabharata war? He had a child with Chitranga, was Babrawahan, and this was Ulupi, and it started with an S. I'm sorry, I have not a very good memory anymore. So Arjun was known for his boldness and daring. And he's so bold and daring, he goes to Dwarka. What does he do that? He commits a big crime. He steals the princess Subhadra among the Yadava heroes. He goes into God's palace and he steals God's sister from there. That bold Arjun is. Well, he's equal to Krishna, but Krishna was also very bold. He used to steal butter in Braja. So Arjun shows, I'm not less than him, I will steal Subhadra. And he did it. He stole Subhadra. And then Krishna says, listen, if Arjun reaches Hastinapur, before we stop him, whole Dwarka, all the Yadavas will remain an object of laughter in the royal assemblies. So go and stop him, but not with force, because he has already touched Subhadra. He has to marry her. And actually, I wanted him to marry Subhadra. Otherwise, there were plans to marry Subhadra with Duryodhan, right? So this is the daring of Arjun. He goes to Dwarka, right? And he commits a theft there. He kidnaps Subhadra. Okay. And he's not afraid of any Yadava hero. He's not afraid of Balaram. He's not afraid of Pradyumna. He's not afraid of Aniruddha. He goes and he kidnaps Subhadra. See who can stop me. And guess what? He was kidnapping Subhadra using Krishna's chariot. Krishna told him, you can use my chariot for this purpose. That is Arjuna. See, but he's Indra. He is Indra manifest on earth. So these are good qualities of the Devatas, okay? Good qualities. Then Vayu Devata comes. He incarnates as Bhimsen and Hanuman. Now, as Hanuman, Vayu is the greatest example as Dasya Bhakti. I cannot take any rest before I have fulfilled Ramachandra's task. And for serving Ramachandra, nothing is impossible. He goes to fetch this Sanjeevani herb in order to revive Lakshman. Then he goes there. And it's not like nowadays people, these servants say, they gave up 100 reasons why they were unable to do that. When I was preaching in Suriname, then, I asked for some things, and they gave me 8 reasons why they were not able to find it. I said, listen, when Guru asks you to do something, then he expects that you do it. He's not expecting you to give 1,000 reasons why you couldn't do it. Hanuman went. He could not recognize Sanjeevani. So he was very inventive. He was very resourceful. He took the whole mountain peak with him. See? Because there should not be any chance of failure. This is resourcefulness. Okay? I'm lacking something, but use your intelligence. You cannot disappoint Ramachandra. So he came with the whole mountain there. Dronachal. His resourcefulness. This is typical Hanuman. So, Hanuman is also known to have the quality of brahmacharya. He practices brahmacharya in order to be able to serve Hanuman, because he becomes a grihastha, then there's so many other problems. The children are crying, the wife needs a few more saris, and the neighbors need your help, and all kinds of things. You cannot serve Krishna directly. And he manages to become the pet son of Mother Sita. And she blesses him with remaining the favorite of Sri Ramachandra. And we don't hear this so much, but Hanuman is an expert singer. And he went to Lanka, he was actually singing the Ramayana. When Sita heard, who's singing this? Then Hanuman came. He learned this art in singing when he was in Gurukul. He was a student of Suryadev. And it says Suryadev said first to Hanuman, I don't have time to teach you because I have to drive my chariot. I said, no problem. I'm the son of Vayu, I can fly. So he was putting himself in front of the chariot, flying backwards while the chariot was moving. And in this way, he got his training. That is Hanuman. Then we'll end here with Lord Shiva. It's already 9 o'clock. He incarnated also as Hanuman, but especially he's known for the quality of dhira, very fixed. Now, in his household, there's so many contradictions, right? He has two wives. One is hot-tempered, Parvati, and what is cold-tempered, Ganga. So there's always some disagreement and some tension. Now, Shiva is wearing a snake, Vasuki, as his Brahman thread, Upavita. And snakes ate mice. Ganesha's, Vahan, his carrier is a mouse. So there's also some allurement to eat that mouse, right? But then Kartikeya comes, he has a peacock. And peacocks, they eat snakes, right? So natural food. So there is always some contradiction there. Then you have a lion. Mother Durga is sitting on a lion. And lions, they like to attack bulls, Nandi, which Shiva has. So there's always some tension. There's always some quarrel there, but Shiva is always in perfect samadhi. That is Shiva. He never says, today I don't have a good mood for chanting. No, always he chants Ramanam. And he also came as Advaita. He is so great, he's like non-different from Lord Vishnu. And therefore we find that Shiva is such a great devotee that Ramachandra worshipped him in Rameshwaram. That lingam, he's so worshipable that even Lord Vishnu worships him. And he becomes the military guru of Parashuram. Parashuram was initiated in Dhanurveda by Lord Shiva. He got all the weapons from him. And also the next avatar, Kalki avatar, will take Lord Shiva as his military guru. Interesting? Like that. So that is Lord Shiva. But it also then indicates that he has a special mood towards Lord Vishnu and Lord Krishna. Because the guru means like a father. So he has a Vatsalya feeling also. He has also a great caring feeling like an elderly person. So therefore, he's connected to Balaram, who is the original, you can say original Shiva, Sankarshan, like that. So he has this caring mood also. And at last we have here Lord Brahma, who incarnated as Haridas Thakur and became the Namacharya, was chanting 300,000 names daily. So you find that those which are devatas, sometimes we say, oh, devatas, and there's a critical attitude towards the devatas. But the same devatas, when they come to earth and incarnate as devotees, they show amazing devotion, which we cannot even follow. You fall asleep, and you're not even completing your 16 rounds, and your Thakur Haridas is chanting 3 lakhs names daily, and he's Brahma. Thank you for your attention. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any questions? We're going to take one only.
I have one question. Yesterday I was reading Srimad Bhagavatam. There it mentioned that at the end of the revelation, 100 years will be extreme hot. After that, 100 years will be extreme rain. So that entire land will be going into the water. So then, where is the Kalki at that time? Then what is the need of Kalki come and to kill the people? Because anyhow it's going to burn like anything.
What you are reading here, you have to understand that pralaya, there are different kinds of pralayas, destructions. What you're reading here is the ultimate pralaya, the end. Like the complete destruction of the whole universe. The Kalki avatar is not, how to say, is not coming after that pralaya. It's not like that. Kalki avatar is meant for killing the Malachas. Parashuram is meant for killing the Kshatriyas, who are adharmic. Now, Kalki avatar always comes at the end of Kali Yuga, at the very end. We have 432 years of Kali Yuga, out of which 5,000 years have passed already from Kali Yuga. Then Kalki avatar will come at the end. And who will be his wife? Do you know that? I told about his guru. Who will be the wife of Kalki avatar? You'll be surprised to know about this. Anybody knows? She's living in Katra as Vaishno Devi. And she was created by the three goddesses, Lakshmi, Kali, and Saraswati, as Ayonija, not born from a womb. And then she incarnated, she actually took birth and later, from the womb of a king and a queen, and she became a great devotee, and she wanted to marry Ramachandra. But Ramachandra said, okay, when I come back from Lanka, and you can recognize me, then I will marry you. Of course, it was not possible, so Ramachandra had to do some kind of trick, because he already made the vow to Sita, I have only one wife, Ekapatni Vrata. So he came disguised, and she couldn't recognize him. So she was crying. I missed my opportunity. She said, don't worry, at the end of Kali Yuga, when I come as Kalki Avatar, I will accept you as my wife. Like that. So that will be the wife. In Katra, you find Vaishno Devi. You can do some yatra there. It's pretty tough. You have to climb 1,850 meters up. And then in the mountains, if you go there, then it might even snow. Or hail might fall. When I went there, it was hail. All of a sudden, hail was falling there. So that is there. And Kalki, by his bodily fragrance and chandan, will emanate so much pranic energy that the earth becomes juvenized again. And the Satyuga starts. Because of this energy of him, then the trees become again the size of Satyuga, huge trees in which you can make a house, everything like that. And things turn again into as it was in Satyuga. So there are small destructions between the change of the yugas. You find the change of Treta to Dwapara, there was a great war between Ravan and Ramachandra. The change between Dwapara and Kali, there was a fight, the Mahabharat war. So at the end, the change from Kali to Kali to Satyuga, there will be again a fight, destruction. And Kalki Avatar will clean up all that. And then Satyuga will start. So these are small pralayas. Then there are the Manvantara changes. When a Manvantara changes, that means 71 cycles of 4 yugas. When that changes, then there is also a deluge. The ocean water comes up, and you have this the pastime of Matsya Avatar, who came to save the Vedic literature, and then a boat was made, in which Manu was there to save. So that's another kind of pralaya, with the change of the Manvantaras. Then there is a pralaya when Brahma goes to sleep. So as we were talking last night about quantum physics, when consciousness is retracted from matter, matter tends to fall apart. So Brahma's consciousness, which maintains his creation, when he falls asleep, his consciousness is retracted, and then what he created falls apart. So that's another kind of pralaya. The final pralaya is when Brahma dies. That will be the end of the universe. Then Anantasesha, he becomes very angry. And why would this become very angry? He had got the lifespan of Brahma a chance to become Krishna conscious, and still he didn't become Krishna conscious? No more words. Flames. He spits out this fire from his mouth and burns all the planetary systems. Like that. That's what you have been reading. And that goes along with the other pralaya, that the sun becomes equal to the power of 10,000 suns, scorching everywhere. There is no more place for anybody to reside. Right? They all have to go into Sushupti, because they're being prepared for entering the body of Mahavishnu now. So all the jivas go into deep sleep. Because otherwise, if you have a body which burns, it's not so nice. See? So there are also smaller pralayas. One of them was a deluge, which Markandeya Rishi wanted to see. He wanted to see how doesn't pralaya look like. So water came and came and came. There was no more land, and he was floating, almost drowning. And then he heard a little boy. My dear child, Markandeya Rishi is very old, amazingly old. He's the oldest, probably, in the universe after Brahma. And who's this calling me a baby, a child, So he looked. Then he saw baby Krishna floating on a banyan leaf, sucking his toe, calling him, my dear child. So like that. So he experienced what it is to be alive during a pralaya. It's not very pleasing. So better you remain in deep consciousness, in deep sleep consciousness. Then you can tolerate like that. So these are the things. Different pralayas are there. And you have to read full Bhagavatam and make some diagrams in order to get the clear picture there. Different pralayas are there and different manvantara changes. There are also destructions are there. Okay?
I heard that it's not technically Yuga Kalki avatar. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, then Kalki avatar appeared.
Well, there can be difference of opinions, but as far as my opinion is here, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a Yuga avatar. He's not a Leela avatar. And Kalki is a Leela avatar. So in the Yugas, you have two types of avatars. The person who comes to give the process for that age, right? Kapila Deva in Satyuga, Yagya in Treta. And Krishna is supposed to be the Yuga avatar of Dwapara, the giving deity worship, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for Kali Yuga. So they're Yuga avatars. They're separate from the Leela avatars. Now, the Leela avatars which appear in Satyuga are many, like the churning of the Melika ocean happened in Satyuga. In Treta Yuga, then you have Ramachandra being the Leela avatar. In Dwapara, you have Krishna being both the Leela avatar and then also the Yuga avatar. In Kali Yuga, Kalki is the Leela avatar. Now, a question might arise, is it in every Yuga like that? If the Yuga is connected to an avatar and the avatar has to come to glorify that Yuga or give an identity to the Yuga, because we say Treta means Ram, Dwapara means Krishna. It's so linked. Krishna doesn't come in Treta. Ram doesn't come in Dwapara, right? So then it is acceptable that in every Yuga, they have to come, right? It describes in the Bhavishya Puran that when Chaitanya comes in other Kali Yugas, he comes with 4 arms and he's called Gaur Narayan. This is mentioned there. But it is true, it is a little bit vague whether in every Treta Ramachandra comes or in every Treta or in every Kali Yuga Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes. I cannot say for 100%, but my faith is that every Yuga has their Leela avatars. Right? It is there because Sahasra Yuga Paryantam Arhat Yam Brahmano Viduhu, that personality, Govindam Adi Purusham, comes in once in a day of Brahma. But there are avatars are like the waves of a river or waves of the ocean. It makes sense also in the Bhagavatam. So if there have to be like so many avatars, then they have to fill up these yugas. For me, it would be like understanding that there is a need in each time for a Leela avatar to be there. We will come in a different mood. Gaur Narayan is not preaching Goloka Prema Bhakti, he's preaching Vaikuntha. Like that. So my understanding is in every yuga he comes. But then there is one exemption. There's a 28th cycle of the 7th Manvantara in the day of Brahma when the original Krishna comes. Like that. So the other 999 Krishnas, because there are 1,000 Chaturyuga cycles in a day of Brahma, they might be incarnations of Vishnu, of Narayan, like that, which the other sampradayas worship. Like that. That's my understanding. But it's true, there is no hard evidence. You might take other Puranas, but then the Bhagavatam might say something different. And the other Puranas talk about another Kalpa, another day of Brahma. Like that. There was the case when I was researching Ramachandra. How do we know Ramachandra? We know Ramachandra from the Ramayana. And Ramachandra appeared on Pusha Nakshatra in Treta Yuga at the Yuga Sandhi. In between this, the Dwapara and Treta Yuga, the end. And he met Purusharam also. But now, is it that the Ramachandra appears in every Treta Yuga? Or he appears in, what was it? The 6th Mantvantara, I guess it was. Vayu Puran mentions also when Ramachandra appears. And then the question arises, does he appear in every Yuga? According to Srila Prabhupada's mood, I understand that they appear in every Yuga. right? And every Treta Yuga Ramachandra comes. The pastime is enacted again in a slightly different way. That's what Prabhupada's mood is. So, like that, I can answer this much only. We had some last thing. Are you hungry? Or hungry for Katha? Just ask.
Let me see if I can ask the question properly. In the beginning, we first have to develop faith. And for me, this means also to clarify doubts. But at the same time, later, like before, also we take a spiritual master. First, we have to, Shraddha has to develop this. But then doubts continue to come, even though first we should come to the stage of having firm faith. But then still doubts are coming. But this might be two different subjects. But I'm wondering if you can.
Yes. Okay. If you look at the levels of Krishna consciousness, Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana, Kriya, Anartha, Nivritti, Nishtha. Okay? So in order to come to Nishtha, unbreakable faith, Shraddha and Nishtha are two separate things. You can say Shraddha is initial faith. You can say like believe, right? And Nishtha is unbreakable faith. And unbreakable faith is based on certain kind of realizations. The first part of our process is all renunciation, giving up anarthas, material attachments to come to the level of fixed bhajan. Yesham tu antagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante mam dridhavrataha. Very steadiness is gained when your karma is burnt and you have learned to act in a pious way. Then you attain steadiness and freedom from the dualities of good and bad. Krishna mentions that. So that's basically coming to the level of Nishtha. Now look at the second part of our process. Then it starts Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava, Prem. It's pure attachment. So the first part of our process, the first half is detachment, and the other part is attachment. But not to the material world, to Krishna, like that. See? So if you look at these levels, they also indicate like that. The initial Shraddha is in the process. Might not be in Krishna, but in the process, hey, these Hare Krishnas have something. You know, I was smoking, I could give up smoking by this process. Oh, you get initial faith in the process. See, I was attached to meat eating, but when I went to the temple, I ate something much more tasty than this rotten meat, right? With so much sulfuric stuff in there. No, I go to the Hare Krishna. So this is initial faith. It's not based on knowledge. It's just like liking or attraction, and we cater for that. Good prasad, nice kirtan, all these things. Because that it creates, that's something here. Then when they hear the philosophy, then gradually the faith starts growing. They grow in their Kanishta levels. And it acts in such a way, when it goes deeper and deeper and deeper, it starts to purify the heart, takes away the seeds of these material desires, and then you can reach Nishtha. See? So this all renunciation comes by way of association and Katha. And then you're ready to taste pleasure, ruchi, in the holy name, asakti, become attached to Krishna, like that. So each stage has another tinge of faith and realization. Because ruchi you get by tasting the holy name. That means your faith and your taste is developing in the name. But asakti is not like that. Asakti is you're tasting Krishna's personality. Right? The name starts to manifest Krishna's personality. And it's another kind of taste than in the chanting. Then asakti naya bhava. Bhava, then your spiritual form starts to manifest. There's another kind of ecstasy here. Then first you saw Krishna, then if you look at yourself, you say, hey, I'm not anymore a person from Köln. I'm not anymore a male. I'm something else. You start to see the form of the Atman in relationship to Krishna. That means you are so much feeling that relationship on the Atmic level, you're entering the Turiya state, the fourth one. Right? That is bhava. But there is two types of bhava. Anishtita, asthit, asthai and sthai bhava. Yes. You have to be fixed in your swarupa. That you qualify yourself for prema. If you get some glimpses, that's the first stage, but then you forget. And you can fall also from bhava easily. Bharat Maharaj fell, make offenses, or you're more attracted to other things. All of a sudden, new inventions come, fat bikes, and all the other kind of things. Oh, that's interesting, And then, so absorbed in these kind of things, then you lose your bhava for Krishna. And you fall from bhava. You can fall from bhava to ruchi maybe, or maybe even to nishtha, and then you climb up again, like that. But when you attain sthayi bhava, that means you can steadily identify in your spiritual form. And that manifests then in prema. So there are different ways of, the faith is not anymore in how to say, in those glimpses, or in being able to give up smoking, which you gained when you attain nishtha. Your nishtha is not, your asakti is not based on that kind of faith which you had in nishtha, right? Like that. It's based on other realizations, like that. So then also it grows further and further, like that. Okay. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.